If you look, this is really a knockout panel. Should I show you? I guess maybe you start seeing it. So we don't really want you to walk on there, but you can take a look if you want. Everything out there is coming down, and we're replacing it with one of the most beautiful ballrooms that you've ever seen.
Last night was a sales pitch. This ballroom can be yours for the small price of $200 million. Microsoft, Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Lockheed Martin executives were all in the room, and the president made them cut checks before they got their entrees. This big, beautiful ballroom isn't taxpayer-funded. Trump's using his own cash with a little help from his friends. How big is the ballroom? 90,000 square feet. Trump's hoping to host inaugurations there, maybe his third. But of course, we're looking for a deal.
We just gave out the excavation contract, and I guess he was in for $3.2 million. I said, can you do it for 1.5? No, I can't do that, sir. I can't. I said, this is once in a lifetime. This is the excavation of the White House grounds for what will be one of the best, most beautiful ballrooms in the world. Sir, I can't. So, but I got him down to $2 million, so it's not terrible.
The ballroom's not the only thing on his mind. Don the Builder used the dinner to poll his guests on the size of the triumphal arch.
It's Lady Liberty. Did you ever hear of Lady Liberty? On top. But, so the sizes would be very different. Small, medium, and large. Medium and large. And whichever one to look good.
Trump's expanding the People's House. Meanwhile, Democrats can't even figure out who's running their house. Squatters, AOC, and Bernie changed the locks, and now Schumer can't get in. And they threw their own party with CNN. AOC says it's her house now, and if anybody has a problem with that, you can take it up with her.
So what do you need to see? What commitments from
I think we need to see ink on paper. I don't accept IOUs. I don't accept pinky promises. That's not the business that I'm in.
AOC is the new Nancy Pelosi with a healthy hip. And Chuck's been thrown out of the House. Even CNN knows he's homeless.
We actually heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson today on Chuck Schumer. He said he's supporting the shutdown to prevent a primary challenge from his left wing. Do you think that's what's driving Senator Schumer here?
No, absolutely not. It's such an insane suggestion.
Alexandria can't hit that pitch. It's right down the middle. Everyone knows it's coming. Burn Dog had to jump in and bail her out.
But are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
I mean,
all right.
No.
Let me jump in on this one. This is
what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
This is what we're talking about.
You have a country that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system, and the media says, oh, you're going to run. What are you going to run for? Nobody cares.
We're talking about a primary challenge because Schumer shut down the government because of a primary challenge. That's why we care. Everyone in D.C. is talking about it.
Republicans continue to say that this shutdown is because you're worried about Ocasio-Cortez and the left. How does that make you feel?
Look, the bottom line is we are fighting for the American people.
No, he's not. He's fighting for illegals. And now he's getting cooked like a hot dog. Even Bernie's getting burned.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to health care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
His own party is calling it the Schumer shutdown. Here's Fetterman.
Shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I follow country, then party. And it's the wrong thing for the country in a period of chaos. I refuse to vote to shut our government down.
Fetterman's the only Democrat telling the truth, and that makes him a threat. There will be consequences. More on that later. With workers missing paychecks while Democrats are on a luxury retreat in Napa Valley wine country, the phones are blowing up.
I think I'm going to be leaving the Democrat Party. They need to do the right thing and reopen this government instead of keeping it shut down like they're hijacking the American people. This is basically a Schumer shutdown from what I've seen.
Schumer's on thin ice, and Hakeem's moving his hips, but not his lips. He saw the polls, and now he's hiding under his sombrero. Over half the party won't commit to re-electing him as leader. A quarter of the party flat out said, no thanks, Hakeem. Since Hakeem's not the dream, Democrats are getting on their knees and praying to the cross-legged Messiah. And he's answering their prayers. Barry's back to cutting ads.
Virginia's elections are some of the most important in the country this year, and I'm proud to endorse Abigail Spanberger. Every vote counts, so turn out. Virginia, Abigail Spanberger is the best choice for governor. Vote for her on November 4th.
Barry just endorsed a woman who supports boys and girls sports and who backs a guy who wants to shoot Republicans in the head. We'll see if Barry can turn water into wine. But their cup's empty.
Welcome to Hannity. We begin tonight with a Fox News alert. At this hour, we are tracking multiple major breaking news stories, including two very contentious debates from hotly contested races in Virginia and New York City. Yep, that mayoral race. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, you have the Republican incumbent Attorney General Jason Miyares finally got a chance to confront his opponent, Democrat Jay Jones, over recently unearthed text messages where Jones is fantasizing about the murder of the Republican leader in the state legislature and his young children, along with several police officers. Take a look.
Let's be clear. There's a reason why the Fraternal Order Police, the PBA, and every single major law enforcement association in the state of Virginia has not just endorsed me, Jay. They've said you need to drop out. And I find it a little bit stunning that today you say one of the pillars of your public safety platform is protecting children. Were you protecting Jennifer's children when you said you wanted to see them die in their mother's arms? How can anybody who's ever worked in any of the crimes against children, all of the areas of federal and state local law department, how can they ever take you seriously, be the top prosecutor, knowing that you view that children should die to advance a political agenda? It's unconscionable, and if you were truly sorry, you would not be running for this office because you disqualified yourself.
By the way, for the record, a well-moderated debate, not like in New York City. And in case you're wondering, Jay Jones responded, oh, predictably, let's attack Donald Trump. In fact, Jay Jones talked about Trump ad nauseum. You would think Trump is running for Attorney General in the Commonwealth. Anyway, Jason Miyares will join us in just a moment. That's coming up straight ahead tonight. Also, New York City mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa, he will be here. His debate against both Andrew Cuomo and devout socialists. We call him Zoran Kami, the Marxist Mamdani, just wrapped up. Take a look.
Thank God I'm not a professional politician. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of no cash bail, which has been a disaster. We have the architect and the apprentice here of Raise the Age. My own son was almost killed because of that in a gang attack.
All right, just to be clear, put this in perspective. Probably the single worst moderated debate in the history of this country. But we'll have highlights of both debates that's coming up straight ahead. Plus, big new polls out of Virginia and New Jersey. Wow. Both races have tightened dramatically. When you see these numbers, you will be surprised. Both blue states. Anyway, we'll check in with Matt Towery and Robert Cahaley. They are here. We also have breaking news tonight from Maryland. Ex-National Security Advisor John Bolton has been indicted by a federal grand jury on 18 counts surrounding the alleged mishandling of classified national defense material. Remember, not long ago, it was Bolton. He was out there cheering for the lawfare against President Trump and called on him to withdraw from the 2024 election. Jonathan Turley, Trey Gowdy weigh in. Tonight, it is clear. Trump haters across the country, they're not doing well. On Capitol Hill, Democrats are humiliating themselves. They are hurting everyday Americans in what is a giant performative stunt that never stops. They are still refusing to open the government, unless, of course, Republicans agree to a whopping $1.5 trillion increase in spending for their far-left pet projects, including health care for illegals, NPR, PBS. But in a shameful example of gaslighting, these Democrats now are blaming Donald Trump for the shutdown. No, it's not him. He supports the continuing resolution fund government at their current levels. Americans, they're not buying it. Take a look.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to health care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
Well, I think, look.
The House passed the bill. Now it's Chucky Schumer, shut down Schumer. You know, there you go. The person who joined Bernie on the stage might just be the actual cause of the shutdown. That's Socialist Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, reportedly poised to primary Minority Leader Chucky Schumer from the left, and he is desperate to prove himself to his party's radical base. Therefore, he's going to put aside a lifelong position of never supporting a shutdown. But don't take my word for it. Take a look at the reaction from Bernie and AOC when fake news CNN asked about this very topic. Take a look.
Are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
All right.
No.
Let me jump in on this one. This is what we're
talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
This is what we're talking about.
You have a country that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a health care crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system, and the media says, "Oh, you're going to run. What are you going to run for?" Nobody cares. She'll run what she wants.
Nobody cares. It's the House Speaker and President Trump and the Vice President saying it.
Right.
Pardon?
Well, of course, they're saying it to deflect attention away from the real issues.
Exactly.
Fight the oligarchy tour and take your private jet with you. Truth is, doesn't matter what Chuck Schumer does. That's the truth. These are the leaders, the true leaders of the Democratic Party. Hakeem Jeffries, Chucky Schumer, they're leaders in name only. But if you look at AOC, Grandpa Bernie, that is the brain trust. It is the Democratic Party's heart. It is their soul. And that should be concerning to every American. For example, here's another moment from the fake news CNN town hall. AOC proclaiming that Deloitte, an accounting firm, was causing rivers to burn with pollution. Okay, take a look.
You know what this country looked like before the EPA? Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas. Poor, middle-class communities getting poisoned and dumped on by corporations like Deloitte and 3M, pouring chemicals into these places. And they want to call it a Democratic priority. And that's why they want to eliminate the FDA.
The answer, new Green Deal communism. AOC is deeply concerned about, quote, drinkable air. Can't make it up. Take a look.
They're trying to make this about political tabloids and political intrigue and horse races, exactly the kinds of things that people are sick of in this country. We're sick of it. We're sick of talking about these horse races, and we're sick of leaders who only want to spend their time talking about that instead of talking about real issues that affect our lives. Instead of talking about health care, instead of talking about wages, instead of talking about having air that's drinkable, air that's breathable and water that's drinkable.
One or the other. Anyway, but maybe the biggest priority for AOC and her fellow comrades is taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants. Now, which, by the way, the Congresswoman is calling a human right. Take a look.
Do you think that taxpayers should be paying for the medical care of immigrants that are in the country illegally? Thank you.
Well, we already know, and this is a common lie that Republicans have been repeating.
Do you think undocumented immigrants should have access to federally funded health care?
I believe personally that health care is a human right. I believe that every person should be able to go to the doctor, but I believe that right now, federal law is the federal law.
If you could choose, do you believe that the federal law should be changed?
I believe in a single-payer health care system where if you go in and you need a doctor, you can get the medical attention that you need.
Of course, I believe in health care, taxpayer-funded health care for illegals and all the other services you can think of. To be clear, right now, this is the very best the Democratic Party has to offer. At least AOC is well, somewhat honest. The rest of the party, is a performative far-left clown show, filming themselves, pretending to resist Trump, pretending to stand up to Speaker Johnson, pretending to work hard to reopen the government. But in reality, it is all just one big ploy for attention that nobody is buying. Take a look.
In the past, Democrats and government shutdowns, whenever there's been even a possibility of it, they would stand tall that that's not the way to do things, always.
The government does not have to be shut down. It doesn't have to be shut down. We can
Senator,
fix this
now
here
you're just parsing,
in a matter of just a couple days. I mean, this could be easily solved by
go
sitting
past
down
cloture,
at the table.
To get past 60, you need some Democrats to reopen that's what's going to happen, Senator. You close the government down because you want $1.5 trillion for all these different things that Schumer wants. It's obvious to everyone, although, maybe you can convince the public that it's the Republicans, but it's not.
Now, this dumpster fire will no doubt impact November's off-year elections. And, of course, it doesn't help that Democrats are once again running terrible candidates. And in Virginia, Republicans might just pull off an upset. Look at this new poll out tonight from Trafalgar. That's Robert Cahaley. Insider Advantage. That's Matt Towery. Look at this. Gubernatorial candidate Winsome Sears has closed a double-digit gap, now trails by only 2 points, well within the margin of error. Republican incumbent Attorney General Jason Miyares now leads by 5. And in New Jersey, look at the big blue state of New Jersey. This poll just dropping right now, this hour, a big pickup for the GOP. Republican Jack Ciattarelli is within about a point of Democrat Mikey Sherrill. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.